Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
But part of why I'm emotional is because a mom has written in and her story is mine, but she didn't have the benefit of what I had. And so my heart is bleeding for her. She says, "Good day to you." Oh, my computer just timed out. "Good day to you. My son was born with an APGAR score of 910. He was a normal child until 3 years old. All of a sudden, he has developed unusual behaviors like not sleeping, no appetite, hyperactive. All at the same time, slowly, he started to lose his speech. We were clueless. Later, he was diagnosed with autism with borderline, but within a year, he became acutely affected. That period, we put him in ABA 2.5 hours a week, an OT 2.5 hours a week for 3 years. He has developed a few behaviors in terms of OT, but his language skills, which we had up until 3 years, has been totally lost. At present, he is 9. He is nonverbal. Also with the pandemic, he could not get therapy for the past 9 months. How can parents intervene and develop the skills at home?
Yeah. So first, Shannon, can you hear me okay? Because I was getting some. You're okay. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, great. So it breaks my heart to hear that, but let's do everything we can right now. Whenever I hear that a child has lost skills, I always think that some form of environmental factor caused that, because when you have a loss of skills, it's sort of a sudden event type thing. And you have to kind of look back. And a lot of times when that is occurring around age 3 or so, it's some form of overload. And, this is one of the reasons that a lot of parents believe that their child was injured by vaccines, as an example, because there's overload happening in the child's. A lot of our kids are very sensitive, and they're not detoxifying as fast as everyone else. And so basically what happens is whether it's a vaccine or some other type of environmental factor, their immune system is affected and they are not able to detoxify as rapidly as they need to from environmental toxins. And then they lose skills. And then unfortunately, if we can't identify what is the factor that is causing toxicity, then over a course of time, the child doesn't redevelop those skills, and then it becomes very difficult as they age to redevelop those skills. But at this point, and I very much appreciate that you are not giving up, and that you are, still trying at the age of 9. And what I would do is I would at this point, I would ask you to, envision a new set of goals. These are not going to be the same goals that you might have envisioned at age 3, but they're going to be goals that are very important for him and that will help him and that he will be able to accomplish. So what becomes very important is for him to be able to communicate. He's nonverbal, so let's not worry about whether or not he communicates verbally. Let's just worry about making sure he can communicate. Because it's important, and I always tell this to parents who have older kids who are still not communicating, that I cannot even imagine how sweet those children are, how kind and patient and lovely they are if they're not getting aggressive. Because I can tell you that if I was not able to communicate, I would probably get pretty frustrated and pretty angry. So And maybe your child is a little bit frustrated, but either way, we do need to figure out ways that will work for him that he can communicate. And what we usually do, every child is a little bit different, but what we usually do is we will begin with icons, iconic or picture type of communication. So picture exchange communication system, PECS, is very, very effective if it is used correctly and used consistently. Basically, PECS is a program where there are little figures, icons for everything that you would want to communicate or request. And you start with a very, very basic, it has levels. So it starts with very, very basic level of just handing a picture to you when he wants something. So it's a representation of the item he wants. And then it becomes more longer sentences like I want as opposed to it is. And it's an expansion on communication, but it is all nonverbal. There are children who are able and interested in learning letters and keyboarding. And if they have any interest, or even children who have a good visual memory, we will next go to communicating via typing. So, and that is a very, very big step because PECS is fantastic, and you can have a PECS board where the child will pull off an icon and give it to you. You can have a PECS book that even goes with the child wherever they go, but it is still a little bit more difficult than actually being able to type. Because if you are able to write what you want and what you see and how you feel and describe things that are going on and all that sort of stuff, you can now, obviously, you'll learn on a keyboard, then you'll transfer to an iPad. You can go to an augmentative device that will actually say what you typed, or you could just use your phone and type things in. One of my kids, became so he's completely nonverbal still, but became so expressive using his phone that he would nonstop basically tell everyone what to do. No, I don't want to go there. I want to go to Toys R Us right now. And he would type this so rapidly, and his parent, he would not stop communicating. It was just that he couldn't vocalize it. So bottom line is there are lots of choices in terms of how to communicate. It does not have to be verbal. In fact, a lot of parents choose to go to sign language. That might be a way as well. Sign is a little bit harder than these visual systems that I mentioned, but any and all of these are fantastic because the child needs to be able to communicate. And if I were you at age 9, I would really be focusing on that. Now, you can also, if you still feel that your child has verbal or vocal sounds that they're making, you can also pair vocalizations with the iconic language or communication. So I give you a picture of juice, and I also say juice when I want it, as an example. But these are things that are very subtle decisions that have to be made. And, my recommendation really is in where you are, you might be able to easily find folks who are experts in augmentative devices and communicating using an augmentative device. Or you might be able to have access to a BCBA. And there, all over the world, there are now BCBAs. And the way that you find them is that you go on the Behavior Analysis Certification Board website. You just put that in, Behavior Analysis Certification Board. Google that. It's the BACB.org, right? And it will pop up. And on there, you will see that there's a way to look for find certificates, it says. And then you'll go in and you will put in your country, your state, wherever you are, and it'll list all the folks who are a board certified behavior analyst, BCBA, in your area. and it has their information. And you shoot those people an email and you say, I really need your help. I want to set up an ABA program, or I need advice for my child, and just the kind of stuff you just wrote to me. And hopefully you'll be able to get some help in terms of kind of guidance over your overall program.
And I was trying to find, because Sue Cho, who comes and talks with us sometimes on the show about teaching that augmentative and assisted language. A lot of people recommend Proloquo. Sue recommends a different program, which I believe is called TouchChat. I was trying to find it in my texts and I can't find it. I will ask her though and let you guys know, but I believe it's called TouchChat. But I really want to address, because mom or dad, I don't know whether it's mom or dad, wrote back in and said that he does have some vocal skills, that he can speak simple words, but rarely. And I just want to make sure, because a lot of times people feel like, well, it's this hardcore thing. If my child can speak at all, then we don't do assisted and augmentative devices. And correct me if I'm wrong, that it really kind of depends on what you've tried before and what age. But by 9, we really want to give them as much functional communication as possible. Even if they can speak some words, we're not going to harm that by giving them more communication, are we?
No, we're not at all. And I just saw a couple of more chats from this parent who, and they're saying that he does speak simple words, but rarely, and that's a good thing. That's very good news. And it just excites me more. I really encourage you to get a BCBA on board and to start working with him, because it's an easy step going from single words to sentences. It is an easy and fun process expanding his library of words. And as Shannon said, it doesn't hurt. Think of it as just a visual cue. You can continue to honor the words that he currently says. And in fact, sometimes, because our kids are much more visual, their language actually increases, their vocal language increases when they have Apex or any kind of visual system paired with it, because they start to understand kind of what is happening. But the key to increasing, whether it's vocal or non-vocal communication, is to make sure that the child understands that they will get what they want when they communicate it, and they won't when they don't communicate it. So if your child, for instance, says a few words, I assume those are what we call mans. Mans are when they request something. So it's something that the child wants. And so if your child says, like, let's say water, you give water to the child when they say it. You do not when they don't say it. It sounds very difficult when you're a parent, but it isn't, because you can model and prompt the child to ask for water every time by saying water. So as I explained that, you might be able to see why it's easier to use iconic or non-vocal types of communication, because sometimes for our children, it's just very, very difficult to produce words because they have apraxia. Their tongue is not able to move as fast as ours does when we produce words. They don't know how to pair enough air exertion with sound and so on. So nonverbal or non-vocal communication can often be easier, faster, and it can still pair with the vocal, and it can actually help expedite the vocal expression as well.
There we go. We have a bunch of questions that I want to try to get to, but I want to start with, they want to know, is skills living, which we're going to have to explain what skills living is, more comprehensive than AFLS, and I don't know what AFLS is.
I also don't know what AFLS is, but skills living, so we have 2 versions of skills. The first version is skills developing, and that is for younger children. It starts at birth, and it goes all the way to, I believe, mental age 8. Now, it's important to consider that it's mental age 8, because a lot of our children, chronological age, their normal age can be 14, 15, but they're functioning at an 8-year-old level in those areas. So, and then what we realized is that we need to go past that, because a lot of children or adults and their families around the world are also in need of skills. So then we worked on and produced a new protocol called Skills Living. And Skills Living is actually turned out to be larger, more comprehensive than Skills Developing. And because we developed it later, the format, the platform is more user-friendly, and I like it a lot more, actually. And it's very, very, very broad. It sounds like AFLS is an assessment. Skills Living is not just an assessment, and it's not just functional living skills. It's, my God, just go on there and take a look at it. It's huge. It's everything from, daily living skills to communication, social communication, vocational skills, leisure skills. I mean, there's tons and tons of stuff in there. And it is an assessment, but it links to lessons, just like skills does. So once you've assessed what your child or adult child needs, it links to how to teach that and what are the steps to teach that. So I love Skills Living. I've always said to Shannon that, I wish that I was younger and that I had more energy to put into developing more lessons and programs and activities for our teens and adults. Right now, I'm trying to work on slight modifications to the CARD program, Center for Autism, so that they actually do address more the needs of adolescents and adults. But yeah, I really recommend Skills Living. It's wonderful.
Wonderful. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.